have to ask myself several times before I go into a war zone, why am I going? What can I contribute? What is my goal there? I have several images that have resonated with me over time, and that that have been published a lot, and that I'm proud of. For those few photos, I do feel like I was there, and one of them is from the Congo Valley in Afghanistan when we had done about a 2-month-long embed, and at the end of the embed, we went on Operation Rock Avalanche, which was a battalion-wide operation to look for Taliban. We were really on our own, and on the 6th day, we were ambushed by the Taliban, and 3 soldiers were shot, and Sergeant Rugal was killed. It was very confusing in that moment, of course, in an ambush, and 2 of the wounded walked to the medevac, the landing zone, and they made their way, and I photographed them as they walked to the LZ, and then I went back towards where the ambush was, and out of sort of the dust of the medevac helicopter that had been kicked up emerged the scout team, and they were carrying the body of Sergeant Rugal. It was so devastating. It was such a horrible scene. And it was just this moment that it would have been extremely difficult to photograph had I not invested 2 months with them. But also I really cared, and these were guys that I had gotten to know. And it was an incredibly intimate and personal and tragic moment. And I also remember thinking, what the hell are we doing here? Why are we fighting this war on the side of a lonely mountain in Afghanistan where there are no people? And it just seemed the craziest place for a young man to lose his life. I can think of one instance in which I know the images made a difference, and that was a story I shot on Mama Cisse in 2010, a young woman who died in childbirth in Sierra Leone. It was a very tragic scene of this young woman. I photographed her from when she was completely lucid in labor, and then she hemorrhaged and died on camera, actually. I was shooting video and stills, and Merck, which is a medical company, used those images to fundraise. At the point in which I met someone from Merck, he said they had raised $500,000 with that video alone. And to me, that means the world, because that is exactly one of my goals as a photographer, is to motivate people to act. In 2006, I was working with Lydia Polgreen for the New York Times, and we were in Chad. We heard that there had been a massacre of Sudanese government soldiers in Darfur, that the Darfur rebels had killed many Sudanese government soldiers. And so President Bashir at the time said, absolutely not, it did not happen, there were no government soldiers killed. We went to the border, the Chadian border with Darfur, and we found a group of rebels, and we said, hey, can you please take us into the massacre site? And we said, well, we need to see the site in order to report on it. We can't just take, verbatim what President Bashir says or what the rebels say. We have to actually see it. I remember when we got to the site, it was I think it was like a military camp that they had attacked. There were just bodies everywhere. There were dozens of government soldiers that had been massacred, and it was on the cover of it was on the front page of the New York Times the next day, and it was one of those instances where no one could say anything because there was proof, there were pictures. And it really, to me, epitomized the importance of an image.